I'm curious, like you're talking about the whiteboard, you know, so many advisors, they say to me, I need a pitch book. And I'm like, no, that's the last thing you need. You don't need pitching. You need positioning. The
Pitch book will
whiteboard,
create a lot of activity and make you feel good when it's in your hand, but it may not lead to any result.
and now you're just swimming in a pool of sameness. You just look like everybody else. The whiteboard dynamic, that's positioning. So it's not a pitch. It's not a presentation. It's more of an overview and an introduction to a process to see if there's alignment. So I gave you a lot there, but I'm curious as to how that lines up with your philosophy and approach.
Yeah, I think first what I was feeling, the stories in my past that were coming up as you said that, I didn't think of myself as a business owner at first. And so I think it was hard for me to have business owner conversations until I hired a bunch of people and lost them and had to, what's culture? What are the things I go to bed worrying about? And so it's like, I think life will teach you some of these things, but I also, the Lord put in me, like, I don't want to take this 30-year path of like letting life teach me all these lessons the hard way. How do I tap into people? And so I wrote a book called Wish I Knew That Sooner. And I found this really cool ghostwriter. He was like a mad scientist looking guy. I flew down to Florida and met him at a Panera Bread next to the airport. And I was like, I want to write this book. And it's really about all the ideas most advisors don't talk about because there's no product attached to it. And I was like, I don't know what the title is going to be. And he was like, you've already said the title a few times. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, wish I knew that sooner. Because I hear that a lot from people. Like, man, if I only would have known that. Like, if I only knew to check that box in my taxes, like people have a fear of regret and losing out. And so I started calling business owners and asking the questions that you're talking about. Like, hey, what were some of the biggest lessons you've had in life? How can I tap into that? And I remember this one guy told me, he's like, I was making the same amount of money with 20 employees as I was with 200. And he's like, one of my biggest takeaways, and this guy was probably 70 at the time, like done a bunch of big name. But again, to your point, people will actually take those meetings. Like if your head trash is like, nobody would ever meet with me. Like these people want to help. He said, complicated is not always better. I use that almost all the time when I meet with business owners now, because it's true. Like most of us just tack things on, there's fires going on, and like we get fueled off complexity and activity.
Yeah.
And when I sit in a room with somebody, I was like, something I've learned from working with a lot of business owners and even in my businesses is that complicated is not always better. If there's a simpler way to get to our end goal, I'd rather take that one. And you can be them like they think and they nod their head and all of a sudden you're in. And so I think there's an element of you'll learn stuff as you go in business if you don't give up. But there are these resources, books. Now that I've written 3 of them, I'm like, man, that's 18 months of my life each time. And you get to read that and access it for $15. Like leaders read and readers lead. You should be doing that all the time. But yeah, who can you get around and tap into it? Because this is creating in you an awareness. And the most successful people I know seem to be the most aware, one personally of themselves, but also of like the world around them and what other people are looking for. And I think as entrepreneurs, like we need to raise our awareness as quick as possible because it does help us connect better with people.